The encounter. The night was cold and cruel, the kind of night that made people hide behind locked doors and warm fires. But Ryan had no door, no fire, and no home. He was a homeless teen living in the old ruins of a forgotten city. The wind cut through his thin jacket, and hunger growled in his stomach as he searched the garbage bins for food. Most people walked past him during the day, pretending not to see the dirty boy sleeping beside the burned buildings. But Ryan had grown used to being invisible that night. However, something strange broke the silence. A soft sound echoed through the alley. It wasn't the sound of rats or broken bottles. It was crying, gentle and frightened, like a child lost in the dark. Ryan paused, frowning. He followed the sound, stepping carefully over debris. Then he saw it. A faint blue glow shining between the shadows. At first he thought it was a broken lamp, but as he came closer, he saw a figure sitting on the ground. A girl, but not human. Her skin shimmered faintly like moonlight on water, and her eyes were covered with a thin silver cloth. She looked young, fragile, and afraid. Beside her was a half-broken metallic pod, wires sparking weakly in the dark. Ryan froze. He had seen strange things before. The sky sometimes flashed with alien ships crossing far above Earth, but never this close. The girl turned her head toward him as if she could sense his presence. Her voice trembled when she spoke. "Please, help me. I am lost." Her accent was soft and strange, her words slow, like someone learning the language. Ryan hesitated. He could run away, pretend he never saw her, but something inside him stopped him. She looked helpless, sitting there in the cold with no one else around. He took a cautious step forward. "Hey, you okay?" he asked. His voice was gentle. The girl tilted her head slightly. "I cannot see. Where am I?" "You're in the city ruins," Ryan said. "Not a safe place to sit alone." He looked around. No one was watching. He took off his jacket and placed it on her shoulders. The fabric looked huge on her small frame. She touched it with thin, glowing fingers. "Warm. Thank you." Ryan sat down beside her. "You hungry?" he asked. She nodded. He broke his half-stale bread and offered it. She smiled weakly, trying to eat slowly. Her movements were graceful even though her hands trembled. For a moment they sat in silence, only the wind whispering through empty streets. Then Ryan noticed something. Her eyes under the silver cloth glowed faintly, and when her hand brushed his, a pulse of warmth rushed up his arm. His heart raced. He looked down and saw a faint light spreading across his wrist, forming a symbol, small, circular, like an ancient seal. He pulled his hand back, shocked. "What was that?" he asked. The girl tilted her head. "You are kind," she whispered. "Kindness wakes the old light." Ryan didn't understand. He rubbed the mark, trying to wipe it away, but it stayed, glowing softly like fire beneath the skin. The girl touched his wrist gently. "They will come soon," she said, "but not for me, for you." A chill ran through him. "What do you mean?" "Who's coming?" he asked, but she didn't answer. Instead, she leaned against the wall, breathing weakly. Her glow dimmed. Ryan looked at the broken pod beside her. It was smoking slightly, covered in strange symbols he couldn't read. He glanced up at the sky and froze. High above, clouds flashed with blue light. Not thunder, not lightning, but something mechanical. The sound was low, like engines, deep and rumbling. Ryan looked back at the girl. "We need to move," he said quickly. She didn't resist when he lifted her gently. She was lighter than she looked, almost weightless. He carried her through the empty streets toward the old subway tunnels he used as a shelter. Inside the tunnel, he laid her down on an old blanket and gave her his last bottle of water. She smiled faintly. "You help? Even when you are hungry," she said softly. "Why?" Ryan shrugged. "Because no one helped me," he whispered. He sat down nearby, trying to make sense of everything. The symbol on his wrist glowed every time he looked at her. After a few minutes, she spoke again, her voice weaker. "My name is Alara," she said. "I come from far beyond the blue stars, but I cannot see them anymore." Ryan didn't know what to say. He had no family, no friends, no one to talk to for months. Yet now, a blind alien girl was lying in his shelter, speaking like a lost child. "You'll be safe here," he said. "Rest. I'll figure something out." But his words felt empty. How could he protect her from whatever was searching for her? As he leaned against the tunnel wall, the strange hum returned. This time from the distance, he peeked outside and saw bright lights sweeping across the ruined streets, floating machines scanning the ground. Their red eyes blinked in rhythm, searching. He held his breath, pulling Alara closer behind old crates. One of the drones hovered near the tunnel entrance, scanning the air. The mark on Ryan's wrist started glowing on its own. The drone stopped suddenly. Its red eye turned blue, and then it backed away slowly before flying off into the sky. Alara gasped softly. They saw the seal, she whispered. They know. Ryan stared at his wrist, heart pounding. Know what? He asked. Her blind eyes seemed to look right through him. That the light has chosen you, she said. Outside, the night fell silent again, but above the clouds, engines still rumbled. Something powerful was coming, and Ryan, a homeless boy with nothing, had no idea that the universe had just placed him at the center of something far greater than he could imagine. The hidden mark. The morning came slowly, pale light creeping through cracks in the tunnel walls. Ryan woke with stiff arms and a heavy head. Alara was still sleeping beside him, her silver cloth glowing softly in the half-dark. For a moment, he forgot everything. The lights, the mark, the drones. But then he saw the faint blue circle still shining on his wrist. He rubbed it hard, hoping it would fade, but the light stayed, smooth and steady like it was part of his skin. He sighed. Great. Now I'm glowing too, he muttered. Alara stirred, turning her face toward him though her eyes couldn't see. They searched last night, she said quietly. I felt their sound. Ryan looked at her. You mean the drones? She nodded. They were hunters, machines of the house guard, she said softly. But they did not harm you, because they saw the seal. The seal again, Ryan said, rubbing his wrist. You keep saying that. What is it? Alara's voice trembled slightly. It is a sign of bond, ancient as the stars. It chooses hearts that show mercy. It marks those who protect, even without knowing why. Ryan laughed a little. Well, it picked the wrong guy. I barely protect myself. Alara smiled faintly. And yet, you saved me, she whispered. Her words hung in the air like a truth he didn't want to hear. Ryan stood up and looked toward the tunnel entrance. He could see dust floating in the golden light, but no soldiers, no machines, no sound. Still, his gut told him they weren't safe yet. He packed what little food he had, mostly scraps of dry bread and half a bottle of water. We should move before they come back, he said. Alara stood slowly, holding onto the wall. Her bare feet didn't make a sound as she walked. She seemed fragile, but every time she moved, the air around her hummed slightly, like invisible waves were following her steps. How do you see if you're blind? Ryan asked as they walked. I do not see, she said. I feel. Everything around me sings in vibration, every step, every sound, every breath. Ryan nodded slowly. That's actually kind of cool, he said. When they reached the surface, the city looked even more broken in daylight. Buildings were hollow skeletons, streets cracked with time. But far above the horizon, he noticed something strange. Small silver shapes floating like birds, glinting in sunlight. Alara turned her head toward the sky. The scouts, she whispered. They are searching for me. Or for the seal. Ryan frowned. You mean they're looking for me now? She nodded slowly. The mark carries command. It calls to them, even across worlds. Command. Ryan repeated. What command? Before she could answer, a deep vibration rolled through the air. A large shadow crossed over them. Ryan looked up and froze. A ship, not human, was descending through the clouds, silent and dark, like a floating mountain made of glass and steel. He grabbed Alara's hand. Run, he shouted. They rushed into a side street, passing broken cars and fallen walls. Behind them, heavy thuds shook the ground, metal figures landing from the ship. Ryan's heart pounded. He pulled Alara behind an old bus and crouched low. From the cracks, he saw them. Tall alien soldiers, covered in silver armor with glowing crests on their chests. Their helmets shone like mirrors, reflecting light in sharp beams. Who are they? Ryan whispered. Alara's face turned pale. The royal guards, she said. They serve my house, but they may not know I live. Ryan swallowed hard. Then they're here to take you? Or to kill me, she said quietly. If they think I am captured. One of the guards spoke in a language Ryan couldn't understand, pointing toward the ground. A scanning device swept across the street. its light approaching the bus slowly. Ryan's pulse raced. He tightened his grip on Alara's hand, ready to run again. Then the symbol on his wrist flared suddenly. The light expanded in a ring, forming a faint energy wave that spread through the air. The scanning beam froze mid-motion. The guard's helmet light turned blue. All of them stopped, silent, one by one. The guards looked toward the direction of the signal, toward Ryan. "What's happening?" he whispered. Alara's lips trembled. "They see it, the seal of light. It commands loyalty, even to those who bear it by chance." The guards lowered their weapons, confusion in their movement. Then one of them dropped to one knee, the others following slowly. The sound of armor striking the ground echoed across the ruined street. Ryan couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Are they bowing?" he whispered. Alara turned toward him, tears glistening under her silver cloth. "They do not bow to me," she said softly. "They bow to you." Ryan's breath caught. The soldiers spoke in low tones, their language filled with reverence. One of them tapped his chest plate and shouted a word that made Alara's head lift. "Protector." Ryan looked down at the glowing mark on his wrist, still pulsing with light. His heart thundered in disbelief. Alara's voice was barely a whisper. "You are chosen by the seal, the heart of mercy, the one they swore to serve." He took a shaky step back. "I'm no leader. I'm just a kid who helped someone who needed food." But Alara smiled faintly. "Sometimes, that is all the universe needs to see," she said. Above them, the alien ship hovered silently, beams of light shining down like morning suns. Around him, the kneeling guards waited, motionless. The air was filled with energy, strange and alive. Ryan looked at the sky, realizing that life would never be the same again. The boy who had nothing now carried a mark that made warriors kneel. The chase begins. The air was heavy with silence. The alien guards still knelt in front of Ryan, their silver armor gleaming under the pale daylight. The glowing mark on his wrist pulsed like a small heart of light. Ryan didn't move, afraid that one wrong step would break whatever strange magic was holding them still. Alara stood beside him, her blind eyes lifted toward the kneeling soldiers. "They wait for command," she whispered. Her voice trembled, part fear, part wonder. Ryan's throat felt dry. "Command," he said. "I can barely command my own hunger." Alara smiled faintly. "Yet they listen to you now." Before he could speak again, a deep roar shook the air. Ryan looked up. The huge alien ship above them had begun to open its lower panels, releasing dozens of flying drones. They spread out like dark birds, scanning the city, searching. Alara gasped. "Those are not royal units. They are hunters, rebels." The kneeling guards stood suddenly, their weapons glowing blue. One of them shouted in alien language and pointed toward the sky. Energy bolts flew upward, striking two of the rebel drones. The sky burst with blue light. Ryan grabbed Alara's hand. "We need to move," he said. "Now." They ran through the ruined street, the sound of explosions echoing behind them. Dust and metal shards filled the air. Alara followed his steps perfectly, sensing the vibrations, guiding him where to turn. "Left," she shouted, and he turned just in time before a blast hit the ground where they had been standing. They rushed into the subway tunnel again, sliding down the broken stairs. The noise above grew louder. The guards fought fiercely, but more drones kept coming. Inside the tunnel, Alara stumbled, breathing hard. "They will not stop," she said. "They know the seal has awakened. They will destroy everything to take it." Ryan leaned against the wall, heart racing. "Then how do I turn it off?" he asked. "I didn't ask for this." Alara turned toward him, her voice calm despite the chaos. "You cannot turn off mercy," she said softly. "It is not a weapon, it is a bond." Her words made no sense to him, but there was something in her tone, steady, ancient, certain. The tunnel shook again. Dust rained from the ceiling. Ryan helped Alara stand, guiding her through the darkness deeper into the abandoned metro system. The air smelled of rust and old oil. After a few minutes of silence, Alara spoke again. "You are frightened," she said. "Of course I am," Ryan replied. "A day ago, I was just trying to find food. Now robots are kneeling and ships are shooting at me." "You are still the same," she said softly. "That is why the seal chose you." He stopped walking. "You keep saying that. Chose me for what?" "To protect," she said. The seal links to hearts that show compassion when no one else will. You gave kindness when all others turned away. That is the signal of light. Ryan shook his head. If kindness brings this much trouble, maybe I should have walked away. Alara smiled faintly. And yet, you didn't, she whispered. Before he could reply, the tunnel ahead lit up. Red scanning beams moved across the walls. Ryan pulled Alara behind a metal pillar. 2 drones floated in, their sensors glowing like eyes. Stay still, he whispered. The drones scanned the tunnel. Then one turned toward them. It let out a sharp mechanical cry. Energy gathered at its cannon. Ryan raised his hand without thinking. The glowing mark on his wrist shone bright. A burst of blue light erupted from it, striking the drone and sending it crashing into the wall. The other drone immediately retreated, its light turning blue before flying away. Ryan stared at his hand in shock. What was that? He breathed. Alara reached out, touching his wrist gently. The seal protects its bearer, she said, through will, not fear. He took a shaky breath. So now I have powers too? No, she said calmly. You have purpose. Ryan looked at her, confused and tired. And what purpose is that? To stand, she said simply, when others fall. The ground above them rumbled again. Voices echoed through the tunnel. Heavy, armored footsteps. The guards were descending, their leader shouting in the alien tongue. Alara turned her head slightly. They come, she whispered. They will take us to safety. But Ryan felt a strange unease. Safety, he repeated. After all this, how do I even know who to trust? Alara's blind eyes seemed to look through him. Trust the reason you helped me, she said. That reason will never betray you. The first guard appeared at the tunnel entrance. His armor was dented from battle. His visor opened, revealing gray skin and glowing blue eyes. He looked at Ryan, not with anger, but with awe. He placed his weapon on the ground and knelt once more. By the seal of light, we serve, he said in broken human tongue. Ryan's breath caught. Behind the guard, dozens more appeared, all kneeling, all silent. The light on Ryan's wrist pulsed brighter, spreading faint rings of energy across the tunnel. The air shimmered as the soldiers bowed their heads. Alara took a deep breath. It begins, she whispered. The protector has been found. Ryan stared at them all, lost between fear and disbelief. He was just a homeless boy, and yet now alien soldiers knelt before him as if he were something holy. He looked at his glowing hand and whispered, "What am I supposed to do now?" Alara's voice was soft, almost like a prayer. "Become what they see," she said. Outside, the alien ship hovered silently above the ruins. The city that once ignored the homeless boy would soon learn that mercy had power, and that the smallest act of kindness could shake the stars themselves. The revelation. The alien guards led Ryan and Alara through the broken tunnels. The air was filled with the low hum of energy, blue lights from their armor guiding the dark path. Ryan followed quietly, still unsure whether to feel safe or trapped. Every few seconds, he looked down at the glowing mark on his wrist. It pulsed like it was alive, a small heartbeat of light under his skin. The guards never took their eyes off it, and every time it flared, they bowed their heads slightly. Alara walked beside him, her silver cloth fluttering gently in the air. She seemed calmer now, stronger even. The faint glow on her skin had returned. "They recognize the seal," she said softly. "You are under royal protection now." "Royal?" Ryan repeated. "Wait, who are you really, Alara?" She turned her face toward him, her blind eyes distant yet full of emotion. "I am Alara Varen," she said quietly. "Princess of the House of Varen, heir to the throne of light." Ryan stopped walking, his heart skipping a beat. "Princess," he said, "you're serious?" Alara nodded slowly. "I fled from my homeworld after the fall," she whispered. "Rebels attacked our palace. They destroyed our sight towers and blinded me with light energy. I was being taken to safety when my ship crashed here, on your world." Ryan tried to process her words. "So that means those drones and those ships?" "They are hunting the royal line," Alara said. "The Varen blood carries the key to the ancient core, the oldest power of our kind." Ryan rubbed his forehead. "And somehow I'm in the middle of it." She smiled gently. "Not somehow," she said. "Because you helped me." Her words confused him. "What does helping you have to do with all this?" The seal of light awakens only when mercy is shown with no reward, she said. It chooses the heart that sees worth in another's suffering. You fed me when you were starving. You offered warmth when you had none. The seal saw that and bonded with you. Ryan stared at her in disbelief. You mean this thing on my wrist connected me to your world? Yes, she said. You now carry the royal seal of Varen. The guard must obey you as they obey me. To them, you are the chosen protector. He shook his head. That's crazy. I'm just a street kid. Ilara's tone softened. Titles do not make greatness, Ryan. Choices do. The tunnel widened ahead, opening into a hidden chamber under the city. The floor was covered in strange metallic tiles that glowed as they stepped forward. The guards formed a circle around them, their voices rising in low chants. Ryan turned slowly. What are they doing? They are calling the command corps, Ilara said. The seal answers to truth and loyalty. When it recognizes a pure heart, it connects the bearer to the corps' power. Before Ryan could speak, the mark on his wrist flared brighter than ever. The blue light grew until it filled the chamber. Symbols appeared in the air, spinning rings of alien writing. Ilara gasped softly. It accepts you, she whispered. Ryan felt heat surge through his arm, then through his chest. His heartbeat synced with the rhythm of the glowing symbols. Images flashed in his mind. Golden cities under twin suns, silver towers rising through clouds, and endless stars spinning like a storm. He stumbled backward, breathing hard. What's happening to me? Ilara steadied him. The seal is showing you memory, not of one person, but of Varen itself, she said. It is sharing what it protects. When the light faded, Ryan fell to his knees, trembling. The guards stood silent, watching him with awe. Ilara knelt beside him, placing her hand gently on his arm. Now you understand, she said softly. You are linked to the heart of Varen itself. Ryan looked at her, sweat on his forehead. Why me? He whispered. Why not one of your own people? Ilara smiled faintly. Because sometimes a stranger carries what a kingdom forgets. Compassion, she said. He stared at her, speechless. Suddenly, the ground above them shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. One of the guards shouted something urgent. Another pointed to the surface. Ilara's face turned pale. They have found us, she said. The rebel legion is here. Ryan's pulse quickened. Then we have to get out of here. Ilara shook her head. No, she said quietly. We stand. They must see who you are. What? Ryan exclaimed. They're armed. They'll kill us. But Ilara raised her hand. They cannot harm the bearer of the seal, she said firmly. Not if it shines. The chamber walls began to vibrate as heavy ships landed above. The guards readied their weapons, forming a shield wall around Ryan and Ilara. The air grew thick with the scent of ozone and metal. Ilara turned to him, her voice steady. Whatever happens, do not run, she said. The seal chose you for courage, not escape. Ryan clenched his fists, staring at the glowing mark that had ruined his peace but somehow gave him strength. I'm not running, he said. Not anymore. The roof cracked open. Light flooded the chamber. Silhouettes of rebel soldiers appeared in the smoke. Their commander raised his weapon, but then froze. The light from Ryan's wrist spread across the room like a sunrise, golden and pure. The rebel soldiers fell silent, weapons lowering. The commander's eyes widened as he whispered, "The seal of light." Ilara stood tall beside Ryan, her voice calm, yet commanding. "The protector has returned," she said. For a moment, even the sound of battle stopped. The universe itself seemed to listen. The kneeling guards. The chamber was filled with smoke and light. The broken roof opened to the sky above, where massive ships hovered silently. Rebel soldiers stood at the edges of the hole, weapons ready, their armor black with red emblems glowing faintly. The air hummed with tension as both sides waited for the first move. Ryan stood at the center, his wrist still glowing like a small star. The light reflected in everyone's eyes, human and alien alike. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing on his chest. One wrong step, and all would fall apart. The rebel commander stepped forward, tall and sharp, his face covered by a half-metal mask. "Hand over the girl," he ordered in a cold metallic voice. "She is no longer your concern, human." Ryan swallowed, his body trembling slightly. "She's not a thing to hand over," he said, his voice low but steady. The commander tilted his head. You dare to defy the Legion? He hissed. His soldiers aimed their weapons, the air vibrating with the charge of energy bolts. Alara moved forward, lifting her chin though she could not see. Commander Strath, she said softly, do you still serve the throne, or have you given it to greed? The commander froze, the voice pulling at his memory. Princess, he whispered, lowering his weapon slightly. Yes, she said, her tone calm yet heavy. I live, and beside me stands the one the seal chose. The crowd of rebels murmured, confusion rippling through their ranks. Ryan lifted his wrist, the blue light shining brighter. The air shimmered, faint holographic shapes appearing above the mark. The crest of the House of Varen, ancient and sacred. Every alien in the room gasped. Even the commander stepped back, staring in disbelief. Impossible, he whispered. The seal responds only to royal blood. Alara smiled faintly. It responds to royal spirit, she said, and his heart carries more honor than your entire army. Ryan took a deep breath. I don't understand your wars, he said, but I know what's right. No one should kneel to fear. As he spoke, the light from his wrist flared outward, spreading like ripples through water. The walls glowed with ancient runes, and the soldiers' armor began to hum softly. The energy in the room changed, heavy, warm, and alive. The rebels lowered their weapons unconsciously, their bodies trembling under the wave of power. One of the guards beside Ryan dropped to one knee, pressing his fist to his chest. Another followed, and then another. The sound of metal striking stone echoed like thunder. Within seconds, every alien in the chamber was kneeling, hundreds of them, their heads bowed toward the human boy who had once slept on broken concrete. Ryan stood frozen, his breath shallow. He didn't feel like a hero or a king. He just felt human, confused, afraid, but somehow sure. Alara turned to him, her voice trembling. They kneel not to your power, she said, but to your mercy. The commander removed his mask slowly, revealing pale gray skin and weary eyes. Protector of Varen, he said softly. Forgive us, we forgot what the seal stood for. Ryan stepped forward, still unsure what to say. The guards watched him like a man watching the dawn after years of darkness. He raised his hand slightly, the glow softening into a calm light. Then stop fighting, he said quietly. Protect life, not destroy it. The commander nodded slowly. By your word, we obey, he said, lowering his head again. Alara's blind eyes shimmered with emotion. You have done what no ruler could, she whispered. You brought peace without war. Ryan looked around. Hundreds of soldiers, rebels, and guards alike, kneeling together under the same light. For the first time in his life, people weren't looking down on him. They were looking up to him. He felt something heavy lift from his heart, the kind of pain only a life of loneliness could leave behind. I don't want a throne, he said softly. I just want no one else to be cold, hungry, or forgotten. Alara smiled through tears. Then you are exactly who the seal was waiting for, she said. The light from his wrist spread across the chamber ceiling, forming an image of a glowing sun crest, the sign of rebirth. Outside, the dark clouds above the city parted, revealing the stars for the first time in years. The guards raised their heads and shouted in unison, Protector of Varen, their voices echoing through the ruins like thunder over the world. Ryan stood silently, his glowing hand lowered. The boy who had nothing was now the hope of two worlds. He didn't seek power or fame. He only followed what was right, and somehow the universe had chosen him for it. Alara stepped closer, placing her hand over his glowing wrist. The legend begins, she said softly, and it begins with kindness. The chamber filled with light again, and for a single heartbeat, Ryan saw what the seal saw. Not broken cities, not war, but countless stars waiting for someone to protect them. The choice. The stars above the ruined city burned brighter than ever before. Their silver light spilled through the shattered roof, touching the faces of those who had once been enemies. Now they knelt side by side in silence. Ryan stood at the center of the chamber, the blue glow on his wrist fading to a soft pulse. The sound of engines rumbled from the sky as a massive ship descended, its shadow covering the ruins like a floating fortress. Alara lifted her head slightly, her voice calm. The royal flagship, she whispered. They have come for you. For me? Ryan asked, You mean for us? She smiled faintly. No, she said. They come because the seal called them, not because of me, but because of you. Before Ryan could reply, beams of golden light fell from the ship, surrounding them. The kneeling soldiers looked up in awe. The light lifted Ryan and Alara gently from the ground, carrying them upward through the broken ceiling. The air outside was cool and sharp. The city below looked small, a world once cruel to him now fading into distance. Ryan's heart tightened. I never thought I'd see Earth from up here, he said softly. Alara turned toward him. You will see much more than Earth soon, she said. They landed inside the great ship. The walls glowed like liquid silver. The floor hummed beneath their feet. Rows of alien officers bowed as they entered, whispering words in reverence. A tall alien woman approached, her armor engraved with golden wings. Her eyes glowed white with power. Your Highness, she said to Alara, then turned to Ryan. Protector of the seal, we are honored. Ryan shifted uneasily. I'm not a king or anything, he said. The woman smiled softly. To us, Protector is higher than king, she said. You carry the light that even royalty serves. Alara turned her blind gaze toward the vast window ahead. This ship will take us to Varen Prime, she said. There you will meet the Council of Stars. Ryan looked out the window, watching stars drift past like rivers of light. So this is real, he murmured. All of it. It is only beginning, Alara said. The seal will awaken its final path soon. He frowned. Final path. She nodded. Every bearer must choose, she said quietly. To keep the light or return it. Ryan looked at his wrist, at the faint symbol glowing there. And what happens if I give it back? Then you return to your world, she said softly. Free of burden, free of destiny. He stared out at the stars. And if I keep it? Her voice grew gentler. Then you become the protector of Varen, bound to guard the worlds of light and life. You will never be alone again, but you will never be ordinary again either. Ryan fell silent, the weight of her words sinking deep. For the first time, he wasn't thinking about hunger or cold or the streets. He was thinking about the countless lives he could protect, people like him, lost and unseen. The ship passed through a glowing field of stars, and for a moment, the reflection of his face on the glass looked different, older, stronger, carrying something far greater than fear. Alara reached out, gently touching his arm. Whatever you choose, she said. The seal will honor it. He smiled faintly. You know what's funny? He said. I used to think no one would ever look up to me. She tilted her head. And now? He looked out into the endless light. Now an entire galaxy does. Alara smiled. Then your heart has already chosen, she whispered. The ship entered hyperspace, streaks of blue light bending around them. The sound of stars rushing past filled the chamber like music. Ryan's glowing wrist brightened again, lines of light spreading across his skin like veins of fire. He closed his eyes, and the seal's voice echoed inside his mind, soft but infinite. To protect is to rise is to serve. When he opened his eyes, the stars outside had changed. Varen Prime appeared ahead, a world of golden clouds and silver oceans. Towers reached to the heavens, glowing like suns. Alara turned toward the light, her blind eyes reflecting it faintly. Home, she whispered, after so long. Ryan felt peace, not because he had found power, but because he had found purpose. He looked at her and said softly, let's rebuild it, together. She smiled. You already have, she said. As the ship descended toward the shining world, the royal banners unfurled once more, and in every city of Varen, people knelt not to a conqueror, but to the human boy who gave away his last piece of bread on a cold night. Ryan, the homeless protector, had become the guardian of the stars. And though the seal glowed brighter than ever, his heart remained the same, kind, brave, and endlessly human. The legend of the homeless protector. The twin suns of Varen Prime rose over silver oceans, painting the sky with colors Earth had never seen. On the royal balcony stood Ryan, the boy who once slept under torn blankets and broken lights. Now he watched fleets of starships gliding across the morning sky, carrying banners of peace instead of war. He still wore simple clothes, not the golden robes the council offered him. I'm not a king, he always said. just someone who refused to walk away. Behind him, Elara walked slowly, her steps graceful. The silver cloth still covered her eyes, but she no longer needed sight. Her mind saw through light itself. They are rebuilding, she said softly. Every city that was lost is alive again. Ryan smiled faintly. That's good, he said. But I hope they never forget how it started. Elara tilted her head. A small act of kindness? He nodded. One jacket, half a piece of bread, and a choice to help, he said. That's all it took. Down below, in the great courtyard, thousands had gathered, soldiers, elders, and children from every world under the Varen light. They chanted one name that echoed across the marble towers. Protector. Protector. Ryan sighed quietly. I never wanted followers. Elara smiled. And that is why you deserve them, she said. Later that day, the Council of Stars met inside the Grand Hall, where columns shimmered like frozen lightning. They offered Ryan a throne carved from crystal and light, but he shook his head. I don't need a throne, he said gently. I just need a mission. The council bowed. Then name it, said the elder voice. Ryan looked around at them, his eyes calm but firm. Send food and medicine to the outer colonies, he said. Build homes for the lost, feed the hungry, and shelter those with nothing. If the seal means anything, let it stand for compassion. The hall fell silent. Then the elders rose to their feet, bowing deeply. As you command, Protector, they said in one voice. Elara stood beside him, her hand resting lightly on his arm. You changed them, she whispered. Not by fear, not by force, but by mercy. Ryan smiled softly. I just reminded them what it means to care, he said. Months passed, and the seal's symbol began to appear across the galaxy. On homes, ships, schools, and banners, it became a sign of hope, a promise that kindness could reach beyond species and stars. Whenever danger rose, the light of the seal appeared again, protecting those who could not fight. Some said the Protector could appear anywhere, walking among the poor and forgotten, leaving trails of blue light behind him. Others said he never truly left Varen, that he watched over the worlds from the great spire where Elara ruled beside him. But one thing every world agreed upon, the legend was real. Children grew up hearing the tale of the homeless teen who helped a blind alien girl, who chose kindness over comfort and mercy over fear. They learned that greatness doesn't come from power, but from heart. And somewhere in the gardens of the royal citadel, Ryan would often sit quietly, feeding small winged creatures that glowed like fireflies. He liked the silence, the soft wind, the feeling that maybe the universe was at peace for a while. Elara would sometimes join him, sitting beside him under the light of the twin suns. Do you ever miss your old world? She asked one day. Ryan looked up at the stars. Sometimes, he said. But I think Earth is safer now knowing kindness reached the stars. She smiled. And what will you do now, Protector? He chuckled softly. The same thing I've always done, he said. Help whoever needs it. As the sun set, their golden rays touched the seal on his wrist, and for a brief moment, it shone brighter than ever, casting its light across the galaxy. On distant planets, people looked up at the same sky, seeing the faint shimmer of blue light and whispering, he's watching over us. And somewhere, perhaps on another forgotten street or another world in need, a new story was beginning. Because kindness, once awakened, never truly ends.